We are in Activity 5.2b, Introduction to CAD Skills. We're looking at number 3, and we're looking at this 2D sketch for starting the windshield. So we can note a couple things. It's 3.04 long. It has a radius on this arc of 6, radius of 0.4 on this arc, and a radius of 6 on this arc. So let's go ahead and start with the overall length and then come back and examine some dimensions with those two 6-inch arcs. I'm going to start a 2D sketch. Start it with a line, and that line is 3.04 long. I'm going to hit escape, hit front, and now I'm going to pull this down below so it's not where I'm going to be working. And then I'm going to go back and look at those dimensions for the radius. This particular one is 0.64 high in the y direction and 3.01 from the back here. And the second arc that's 6 is 2.55 from the back and 1 high. So let's go ahead and put in some lines. But I'm going to put in construction lines. So I'm going to come down here, click, hit that line, hit escape, line, I'm going to click, make my second construction line, hit escape, and then turn off construction. That's important. You may forget that. If you do, just hit undo and then go back and turn that off and redraw our next step, because we're going to put an arc on there, but we want to go ahead and put our dimensions first. So we said this one was supposed to be 0.64, and from the back it was 3.01, and this one is 2.55, and it had an overall height of 1. Now I can use this to make my arcs. I'm going to click on the endpoint, click on the endpoint, and type in a 6 for the radius, and see what happened. That's exactly what I wanted to warn you about. So we just hit undo, click on that construction to turn it off. I wish it would have a like off on button there. So but it's hard to tell whether it's turned on or not till you actually draw it. So and there it looks pretty good. I'm going to try 6 again, and there you go. And I'm going to do the same thing down here, and I want to make sure that I hit that endpoint with that arc. Make sure it turns green. Make sure it's pointing out. We'll type in a 6. And the next arc is touched the two endpoints, and it was 0.4. And what I'm going to do is finish sketch right now. And I'm going to hit extrude. And I'm just going to pick a distance. I'll pick D3 there and click OK. And let's go to 3D and look at it. Now I'm going to eventually want to put fillets around the edge, but I'm going to try to put the fillet now. And I click on that fillet. And see how it's treating it as 3 different ones, and it's not liking it. You can tell right away it's not going to like that. So hit cancel, and then I'm going to undo. And we'll go back to the curriculum, and there's 2 really important things we have to do with this sketch. And in order to do that, I want to take you back there and we'll look at it. As we scroll down, the part that the students will not pay attention to is deleting these 2 and then making them all tangent. I like making them all tangent. This one just says make those 2 tangent. But let's go back to the center and hit the tangent command. But I can't do that because what happens, the other thing the students are going to do, they're going to hit here. It's going to give an error. Why? Because they were told in the curriculum to delete this dimension and delete this dimension. So now let's go back and try tangent. There it worked. There it worked. Finish sketch. Now I can hit extrude. Now go back to the curriculum and see how far that was supposed to be. .55. So now I can go back and type in 2.55. And then now I can go ahead and start putting those fillets. Let's go and see how far we have to go with the fillets. Save the file. It does some completing of that Automa blocks. They practice a little fillet. They're going to practice a shell. So that's eventually where we're going. But before we get there, we want to make sure we know to go ahead and do that fillet. So when we get this done, we're going to save it. And it says continue working on the file and make it radius of 0.5. A lot of times the students are going to do this 0.125 when they're scrolling down here, but that refers to this activity here. So let's go back to Inventor and let's go ahead and do a chamfer. Notice it's using it all at once. We want ours at 0.5 of a fillet. So let's hit fillet, 0.5 and 0.5 on that side and apply. And now it likes it. So we'll flip it over and look at the bottom. It's perfectly solid. So let's go back to the curriculum. But do watch for that mistake right in here where the students are going to they'll skip over this and they'll just type this in because it's the first visual they see. So, and then scroll down. Now we know we had to do this part. So let's go ahead and do a shell. And the amount of the shell, you are going to have to zoom in to see it. And it's 0.07. And your students will complain about that. So just make sure you tell them to zoom in. So we're going to use the shell command. And when I'm doing the shell, they're supposed to remove the bottom. A lot of time what the students will do, and I'll go ahead and make this 0.07. Click OK. Then the students will go back, oh, let me do the shell again. I forgot to remove the bottom. And I click OK. It says it can't do that. Cannot create new shell. See this shell over here? So they don't have to delete that shell necessarily. They just double click on it. Click on remove bottom. And done. So I'm going to click OK. And that'll conclude this part of making the